Hey, welcome back. I just wanted to talk to you today a little bit about Google Gemini because we're going to use it as part of some of the upcoming labs and talk about some of the advantages it has over the other LLM models. Gemini was released and is an LLM model similar to ChatGPT. Typically, the way you're going to access this is via Gemini.google.com. Albeit, I will show you a little bit another way to access this, which is actually going to be free. So for the Gemini.google.com, that's kind of their ChatGPT equivalent interface, but they do have an interface that's really developer focused, but currently it's free to everybody. So we'll jump over there and look at that too in a minute. One of the cool things about Gemini is they've got this button at the bottom, and if you click it, it will actually use Google search to fact check whatever the output the LLM gave you. If it's in green, that means it was able to verify those are true via internet search data. If it returns a line and it's more in this yellow color right here, that means it found conflicting data coming back through internet search. So you might want to double check that before you bank on it being true. But they're trying to do this to help combat misinformation and just generally get more user trust for the LLM output. Now, internet access is built into pretty much all the models for Gemini, so that's easy to enable. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. In addition, in LLM models, they have this concept of a token. So essentially, they break up your inputs and the outputs that are coming back from it into chunks. And typically, those chunks are kind of like the words, right? But sometimes those are also abbreviations. And sometimes with, bigger words, there'll be there'll be multiple chunks, right? And each of those are called a token. And there's limits on how many tokens a model can process as input and process as output and keep themselves contextually aware of. And that's really known as the context window. So the context window is basically how many tokens can they process as inputs and outputs. And you can think of this kind of as like memory, right? The more or the larger your context window is, the more RAM or the more memory your system has. You can think about the LLMs kind of like the CPU. That's like more parameters means more processing power. And then, you can think about context windows as kind of the memory for that CPU. Like the more RAM you have, the more data it can hold in one single go. Yeah, so when we're talking about performance, historically, it was all about how many parameters do you have, because that kind of determined how good your model was. Now it's kind of more a mix between how large are your parameters, like obviously more is still better, but then also a mix with test time compute, which is like how long are you going to, and how many GPUs are you going to use when the user inserts the prompt to kind of iterate on itself to determine whether the answer is good before returning it back to the user. So typically, you get the parameters the models have when you bake the model. And then after the model is baked, when the user inputs the prompt, you have two options. The first is really just query the knowledge store, get the data the user wants, and return that back to the data. That's typically how the LLMs were working. And now we have these newer models, these reasoning or thinking models. And what they're going to do is they are going to take the user's prompt or query, they're going to get an answer, and then they're going to take the answer and they're going to ask themselves, does this make sense? And if so, maybe they enhance it a little bit. And if not, maybe they get rid of the parts that doesn't make sense. And it just kind of iterates on itself a while until it's really, really sure it's got the right answer. And then it sends that answer back to the user. So you can see, the reasoning and thinking models are really the ones that people are really gelling with now. But obviously, iterating on itself takes time. And hence, there's more delay in getting a response back from the LLM. But, when you get the response back, it's going to be a better response. Now, one of the main advantages is Gemini has a much larger context window than pretty much all the other models. Their models pretty much start at the 1 million token context window, which is typically about 4 times larger than what everybody else is doing. And then they go all the way up to the 2 million token window. So, this is has a lot of advantages when building complex systems. Now, I just wanted to show you kind of how you can get to some of these tools. So if we want to, there's this tool called AI Studio. And when we go to AI Studio, we can go over to create a prompt. And when we go over to create a prompt, we can select the model. Now, the newest model that just came out is this 2.5 Pro experimental model. It's also a reasoning model is what they call it, or like a thinking model. So it's going to take a little bit longer to respond. And typically you can just use this for free right now. If you want it to have access to the internet and to kind of like check itself, you can go ahead and just switch this on. So it will use internet search when the model thinks it needs it. A temperature of 1 is going to be like fairly creative. So if you don't want it to be creative, you can shut it down to 0. If you are like writing an essay or something, you probably want it at a 1. If you want it highly creative, you can do it at a 2. Just know, the higher you set this, the more likelihood you'll get weird responses. This does support function calling, code execution, structured outputs, all that. Also, you'll want to do the advanced and then go edit your safety sections. And then you just want to shut these all off. That way the model complains less about whatever you're asking it to do. And then here, you can ask it a question like, how many cows are in Ireland in the 1800s? And then, it's going to go ahead and think about that for a while. This isn't really that complex of a question, so, technically you really don't need a reasoning model for that. Like a regular model would work just fine. But here, you can see all the references it's giving us and the response it's giving us coming back. You can also open up the thoughts and kind of see some of the synthesized thoughts or the process it went through to find the answer. So really straightforward and, free to use at this ai.studio.google.com right now. Another thing that's really cool in here, which I don't know why more people aren't talking about this, but if you go over to the stream real time, they have this option to share your screen. And essentially the LLM, I'd have to set up the settings to do this, but essentially, the LLM is going to be able to see your whole screen. And then, you're going to be able to use voice to talk back and forth to the LLM to kind of like brainstorm ideas on whatever you're working on. So kind of like your own like Jarvis, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to like, they'll use anything you share as part of training the model. So you don't want to share something ultra sensitive. With that being said, it's a pretty cool experience. Like I often use it, and this sounds maybe a little weird, but I often use this when I'm like browsing social media to kind of like generate new ideas and then add them to kind of like our conversation. And then I kind of have like a transcript of all the ideas and everything that we talked about, which kind of makes me feel like I'm being more productive when I'm, scrolling x.com and things like that. So, or on Blue Sky or Mastodon, right? I guess most of the good stuff's on Mastodon these days. But the other sources, Blue Sky, is more Democratic leaning and X seems more Republican leaning. But it seems like the real diehards are all on Mastodon. But maybe that's just my opinion. I don't know. So, your mileage will obviously vary. Okay, let's just check out a quick example here. I'm going over to Cursor. I set up the dev tools or dev container environment. If you want more information about that, check out the Python video. I kind of run through how to do that in the Python video. And, this is how I kind of set it up for Ubuntu system, this setup.sh. The only requirement I'm putting in here is the request library, so we can make HTTP requests to the Google's APIs. And then when we run it, we're just going to run this app.py file. The app.py file is relatively straightforward. You can see inside the main function, we're going to look for an API key. This typically, you're going to put this inside of your app.ini right here. And I'm using the Gemini 2.0 Flash model just for this. It's really good, and it's reasonably good, and it's cheap, man. So it's a good one for when you're experimenting. And then you're going to get this prompt template here that says you're a helpful AI assistant. Please respond to the following question. We're going to get this question from the user and insert it there. And then we're going to get the question right here. Use the read prompt template function to read the prompt template, insert in the user question at the right spot. And then we're going to use this function called query Gemini, which we'll look at in a second. And when we get the response, we're going to go ahead and just kind of extract Gemini's response here and print it out to the screen. So pretty straightforward. So let's look at a couple of these functions. So the query Gemini function. Now, Gemini does have like a pip module you can install, and honestly, I just find it way easier to just hit their APIs. Like their APIs are really well documented, and honestly, I've run into some issues with using their pip modules. So, just to save yourself the frustration, I would use this approach. I've gotten rid of a lot of problems by using it. So anyways, we're going to set the API key for that X header, and then we're going to send over the prompt here. And then we're just going to post that using the request library and return the JSON response. See, we're just reading the prompt template here, grabbing the API key from the config file, and yeah, that's the whole script. So let's just go ahead and run it. Starting Gemini AI chat application, what would you like to ask? How many whales live near the North Pole? All right, so that's gonna package up that prompt. It's gonna send it off to the LLM. and then it's going to give us back an answer here and print it out to the screen. So pretty straightforward, and we're going to build upon this in the future labs. So yeah, this is really just to get your feet wet, explain what's going on with Google Gemini, and show you how to create a simple Python app to query it. The code will be up on the GitHub, and as always, leave a comment if you got any questions or you got ideas on other things I should do. And then also, like, subscribe, all that goodness. I really appreciate your support, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.